Sometimes it feels like the only way something becomes a priority in our life is if we decide to make a video about it. I knew for almost a year I wanted to dedicate more of my time to drawing. But while I could sneak in half an hour here or there, it wasn't until we committed to making the Sketchbook Stories series that I felt like art could become a central part of my life. It's still difficult to find the time to draw every day, but on this morning last week, I was able to spend 5 hours with my notebook in the hot sun exploring our new neighborhood. So today, you can take these off, we are in Belem, which is like a little bit outside of Lisbon, and I'm going to draw a few different of the monuments. So this one is right by the Map Museum, and then...
Map Museum?
Yep. And I'm not exactly sure what the story behind this art piece is, but I thought it was beautiful, and it would test my lines because it's all these squares. And then the next thing is like a big monument, and then we're gonna go to Belem Tower, and I'm not sure if we're gonna fit much more in, but it's really fun to be like exploring the city with the sketchbook, because I feel like I get to like be calm and sit and actually look instead of just rushing through it. And so we might not see as many things, but we like take our time with it, and I like that. The thing that I hadn't thought about when choosing to explore this area is the history of the monuments I would be drawing. During our 2-week stay in Lisbon, we spent the entire time living in a parking lot in Belem, and it made perfect sense to me to go out and draw the things that would remind us of our temporary home. But as I went to find a story to share with you about these impressive structures, I was confronted with a complex narrative, one filled with deep national pride in the Portuguese age of discovery, but also the country's less talked about dark past of colonialism and the 5.8 million Africans sold into slavery on Portuguese vessels. Looking back on my own education in America, it's hard to believe how much of American history was omitted from the textbooks I grew up with. It wasn't until I studied abroad in Barcelona back in 2010 that my worldview really started shifting. In Catalonia, I was confronted by a culture constantly questioning its place inside Spain's fascist history. It was also startling to hear people talk about the American capitalist system exporting a consumer culture where people eat fast food, wear fast fashion, and exploit the natural world at an alarming rate. But it wasn't just foreigners with this mindset. Lou too had a version of American history that when I first heard it, sounded more like conspiracy theories than actual proven facts. The CIA overthrowing democracies and installing dictators to privatize natural resources, the genocide and mass sterilization of indigenous communities. These are all things you'd never hear about in a high school history class. My time in Barcelona taught me to question everything I had previously held true. And as that deep sense of curiosity developed, it also led me to discover veganism, van life, minimalism, and ultimately my creative passion. So I know you came here expecting an art video, but maybe this could be the same kind of moment for you that I had in Barcelona, when you realize that the narratives you are given on a daily basis have been carefully constructed to retain the status quo and continue the exploitations of humans and the natural world. If you're interested in learning more, I linked some articles below I read about the monuments in Lisbon, Portugal's history with the slave trade, as well as one that explores how we should be teaching history in schools, and actually a few more. You can always count on While We Roam to turn a simple drawing video into a bit of an ethical quagmire. Alright? I really don't know how I did this. But I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something maybe.